We left off by establishing that human biology is a chaotic, nonlinear system where microscopic initial conditions, such as the regulation of your autonomic nervous system, set off massive, cascading effects. Now, we must examine the scale of these ripples in greater detail. When we apply the butterfly effect to the macroscopic lens of public health, we are looking at social epigenetics. This is the precise study of how our external environment, our social interactions, and our personal health decisions literally alter the way human genes are physically expressed over time. The ripple effect of your health is not contained within your skin. It permeates your family, your community, and, through the mechanisms of inheritance, the generations that have not yet been born. To understand the scope of this cascade, we must look at specific biological facts that underscore how interconnected these systems are. One fascinating example is the role of the vagus nerve in transgenerational stability. Research has demonstrated that the vagus nerve acts as a biological transducer, converting psychological states into physical gene expression. When an individual engages in sustained autonomic regulation, they are effectively down-regulating inflammatory cytokines across the entire body. This does not just reduce systemic inflammation, it alters the cellular environment in the germline. Data shows that even minor, persistent shifts in parental stress levels can be detected in the epigenetic marking of their offspring's cortisol receptors. This is not speculative, it is a measurable, physical change in the hardware of the next generation, caused entirely by the software of the parents' daily biological choices. Consider the concept of systemic neuroinflammation. Research in the field of the microbiome-gut-brain axis shows that chronic, low-grade inflammation is often driven by a cascade of small inputs. It starts with diet, activity level, and stress regulation. When a population shifts its collective initial conditions, perhaps by moving away from ultra-processed, inflammatory foods and toward nutrient-dense, microbe-rich diets, the result is not just a healthier individual. It is a biological transformation of the entire community. As residents experience reduced neuroinflammation, the collective emotional regulation of the population improves. This leads to a decline in stress-related chronic diseases, a reduction in aggressive behavior, and an increase in cognitive empathy. The crime rate, the economic productivity, and the healthcare outcomes of that city shift entirely. This is the butterfly effect in action at a societal level. A change in the gut health of one community ripples out to affect the stability of the entire region. We see this in clinical data tracking the rise and fall of metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes and pediatric asthma. These are not just isolated medical statistics. They are the cumulative output of millions of individual butterflies flapping their wings. When parents, finally free from the crushing neurological fatigue of metabolic illness, engage in more responsive and emotionally regulated parenting, they are encoding resilience into the nervous systems of their children. This is the mechanism of transgenerational epigenetic inheritance. By choosing to stabilize your own biology, you are literally changing the chemical environment in which your children's genes are expressed. You are preventing the transmission of stress-responsive markers. You are building a more robust genetic legacy. Furthermore, we must consider the tipping point theory in population health, which is a direct application of chaos theory. In any complex system, there is a threshold of participants required to trigger a systemic phase shift. In public health, if a critical mass of individuals within a network, approximately 25%, adopts a specific biological intervention, such as time-restricted feeding or disciplined sleep hygiene, the influence on the remaining population becomes exponential. This is because health behaviors are socially contagious. A person who optimizes their circadian rhythm influences the sleep quality of their household, which ripples into the work environment, which cascades into the social circle. This is how a small group of biological butterflies can shift the health status of an entire urban population without any top-down government policy. This reveals a profound truth about human health. We are not separate from the systems we inhabit. We are the architects of the feedback loops that define our future. Every time you choose to optimize your circadian rhythm, every time you choose a food that nourishes your microbiome rather than inflaming your gut, and every time you practice autonomic regulation to suppress the cortisol cascade, you are performing a revolutionary act. You are shifting the initial conditions of your existence. In chaos theory, the system is always sensitive to change. This means it is never too late to begin a new butterfly effect. You do not need to overhaul your entire life in one day. You simply need to identify the one microscopic habit that, if repeated, would create the most significant, positive amplification in your health. The history of medicine is filled with discoveries that were once considered minor, only to be revealed as the missing links to massive, global health crises. The most resilient communities are those that understand the interconnectedness of their biological data. By monitoring your own vitals, observing your own behavioral triggers, and staying informed about the latest research in nutritional biochemistry and neurobiology, you become an active participant in your own evolution. The butterfly effect is a reminder of your agency. You have the power to create a positive ripple that reaches far beyond the boundaries of your own life. Guard your biology, because the future of your community depends on the health of your initial conditions. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and continue to master the complex, beautiful chaos of your own human physiology. Please be explicitly advised that the neurological, physiological, and medical information discussed today is provided exclusively for educational and informational purposes. It is absolutely not intended to serve as professional medical advice, psychiatric diagnosis, or formal clinical treatment. While gut-brain axis modulation, epigenetic resilience, and metabolic health optimization are scientifically proven to deeply benefit systemic health, they are not a replacement for professional medical intervention. If you are experiencing persistent mental distress, chronic metabolic issues, or acute health disorders, you must immediately seek the professional guidance of a licensed medical doctor, clinical specialist, or qualified healthcare provider to formally evaluate and treat your specific biological needs. Thank you for completing this deep, two-part exploration into the breathtaking power of the biological butterfly effect with us on the Health Channel. If realizing how your own internal choices serve as the bedrock for the health of future generations has fundamentally shifted your perspective, please take 1 second to hit the like button right now to support our growing scientific community. Which area of your own personal health do you believe could trigger the greatest positive ripple effect in your family if you chose to optimize it today? Share your visions and specific biological strategies in the comments section below so we can map out a new future together. Make sure to subscribe to the channel right now and click the notification bell so you never miss our deep explorations into systemic optimization, transgenerational health, and human behavior. Until next time, recognize your immense impact, choose your intentions with absolute vigilance, and stay vigilant.